welcome to my channel. Here I'm just taking some fondant that I colored, and then I'm just taking some a straight edge tool. Any tools you have will work. I'm just making some indentations so I can make my brick pattern, and I'm just taking another little tool that I had to go ahead and just make those vertical lines to make the bricks. And you can do this any kind of way you want to. There's really no wrong or right way to do this. And here I'm just showing you kind of how I did my brick pattern. And then once you get the brick pattern the way you like it, you can go ahead and measure it up to your gingerbread, the front and the back, because you're going to do this for both sides. And then once you get that like you want it, you're going to go ahead and just adhere it with some water. I recommend putting the water on the back of the fondant, not the gingerbread house that you see me do here. It just didn't stick as well to me. So once you do that, just go ahead and take a sharp knife. Once you get the placement where you want it, take a sharp knife and go ahead and cut around the fondant so that it is cut to the shape of your gingerbread piece. And I didn't realize that my camera wasn't recording when I did the door, so I just took some fondant that I colored orange and made into a door with little details, panels, and a doorknob. And I just placed it on my gingerbread, the front of my gingerbread house where I wanted it to be placed. And then I just took a small amount of fondant, white fondant, and rolled it out into a thin snake. And this is what I'm going to use for the border around my my door. Now, once you have the snake how you want it, to go ahead and take a little bit of water and place it around the border of your door where you're going to place that fondant, and this will help it stick. And you're going to go ahead and just put that around. Make sure it's sticking, and then go ahead and just take your knife and cut the excess off there, and just get it to the shape that you want it in. And I'm going to start making my windows. I'm just taking a square cookie cutter and cutting out a piece of fondant. And because I don't want my windows to be super big for the front, I'm going to cut a piece from each side, because I still have to add the trim, and the trim is going to add just a little bit more size to the windows. So I'm just going ahead and cut that off on each side. Just trying to get it a little bit straighter. Then I'm just taking a yellow food color marker and just coloring the fondant yellow. You can use yellow fondant if you want, but this is just was easier for me than coloring yellow fondant at the time. And then I'm just going ahead and roll out another piece of fondant. And this is what I'm going to use for my window perimeter, or the outside of my window. And I ended up cutting these a little bit too thick, so I ended up going back, and once they were on the window, going back and cutting them down, as far as the width of it. And you'll see me do that in the video later. So I'm just going ahead and measuring them to fit around my window. And then here's where I just realized they were just a little bit too thick for me, so I was just cutting them and then pulling out the excess fondant. And I did this to all the sides. Then here I'm just going to go ahead and make that cross in the middle of the window. Just cutting off the excess where needed. And here I'm starting off the same way for the windows on the side of the house, but instead of doing the little extra step that we did before, I'm just taking just cutting out a big square, then taking another little small square cutter and just making a line or indentation around the perimeter of the window. And then I'm just going to press like the middle part, press a little bit in. And then we'll repeat the same process. We'll go ahead and color it with the yellow food marker. And since these windows I do want to be a little bit bigger, this is why I did it this way, because I didn't have to cut anything off or make it smaller. And then just using that same fondant where I cut this from, since it's already flat for me, just using this to make the window sills. So here I'm going to be making the window shutters. I'm using the same orange fondant that I used for the front door so they will match. And I'm just using my window to kind of get my height right for the shutters. And this is going to end up being 2 shutters out of this one piece of fondant. I'm just kind of cleaning up my edges here. And then I'm just going to cut this in half, like I said, so it can be 2 shutters. And then to make the shutters, I just kind of put indentations in the shutters, kind of in a rectangular fashion, so that it looks like it was, I don't know, kind of wood that had been etched out of the shutter. And then once I do this, I'll go ahead and go around the perimeter of the shutter and make indentation all the way around, kind of framing those smaller rectangles inside of it. And you could do your shutters any kind of way that you want to. If you have a wood impression mat, you can use that. I mean, it's just so many different ways you can use to make your shutters. You can just leave them with no detail. It's really up to you. Okay. Then here you kind of see me measuring just to make sure everything is still good. And then I'm going to go ahead and do that perimeter around there, just making just a line all the way around, kind of frame it. And then of course you're going to need 2 of these per window, so you need 8 of these all together. And then here I'm just repeating the brick process on smaller pieces of fondant for the sides of the house. And since my windows will cover most of the side of the house, I didn't, want to make a whole piece of fondant and brick, and then the windows just covered anyway. So I'm just going ahead and making the brick pattern on these smaller strips of fondant. And then my camera I wasn't in focus of my camera and frame of my camera for the first window, but as you can see here, I'm putting on the second window, and I'm basically just trying to make sure that the windows are on, and then the shutters of course are on those also, and just trying to leave as little gingerbread showing as I can. Okay, so here I have a small circle of fondant. I'm cutting another small circle from that. And then we're just going to take this and we're just going to make a little wreath. So I didn't have anything that I could cut the middle out with. So I just used a knife and another little tool and then the edge of my paintbrush to smooth it out. And the other piece that we cut from, we're going to also use that. So don't throw that one away. And then here I'm just taking some holly leaves from the gingerbread kit that this came from, the Wilton pre-baked gingerbread kit. And I'm just going to use these holly leaves to make a wreath for the front door. And I'm just using a little bit of water and also just pressing down with pressure just to make sure that they're stuck in the fondant and they won't come off. Okay, and once you have your wreath fixed, you can go ahead and place it onto your door with a little bit of water. And this will help it stick and make sure it doesn't go anywhere. Just press it down, make sure it's a really good stick on there. And then we're just going to go ahead and take those holly leaves and the berries and just go ahead and put it around the top perimeter of the house. And we're also going to repeat this on the sides and the back of the house. And I just took a little thin strip of fondant and put it around the perimeter so that we can stick the holly leaves and berries to it. And that's how it should look once you're done. And then this is the other piece of fondant that we cut out the smaller piece from. And I am just using some of the little Christmas candy lights that came with the kit, the gingerbread kit. And just using that just to make a little decoration on the house. And then here I just took a block of fondant, nothing special really, and just made it into I guess a little roof for the door. And then I just took some other little candies that were in the box and just put it on there. And then here we're just continuing to make the small strips of fondant so we can continue to put the holly leaves and the berries on to match the front of the house and the back of the house. Here I'm just taking the same little small cookie cutter and the round cookie cutter and making just a bunch of little round roof tiles, I guess you can say, and putting them on with just a tad bit of water to each one. Thank you so much, guys, for watching this video. I really hope that you enjoyed it. Please follow me on my Instagram, Facebook is Rachel's Theme Sweets. For both of those, if you do decide to create this, please tag me on Instagram or Facebook, whichever one is better for you. Please like and subscribe and comment down below if you have any comments. And thank you guys for your support, and I will see you later. Bye.